There we are. All right. Well, thank you all for making some time today. This final workshop is really meant to be uber practical, which means that the leaders of this workshop isn't me, but it's you. And so start queuing up the administrative questions you have, tech problems, questions about technology, questions about attendance or grades or completion or anything there that you have. We've invited Brother Long to be with us. Brother Long's our administrative assistant. He lives in Ohio, and he provides services, as we said at our convention on Saturday, he provides services for just about anyone that has a seminary and institute related calling in the North America Northeast. They probably work with Brother Long in some form or fashion. He's an administrative assistant, is administrative professional extraordinaire. So we're glad that he's with us. He'll be here to help answer some questions as well. I want to just review the training on Canvas for administering effectively. Hopefully you've been through it and that this is a review. But I really want to make sure that we ground this as practical as we want this experience to be, that it's grounded in principle. And so if you participate on Canvas, you know that there's this great reference in the Book of Mormon, right in the middle of the mission of the sons of Mosiah, where they convert the king of the Lamanites, and that king of the Lamanites stands up and ministers to his house, and his whole house is converted. However, he then also administers unto his people, and because of that, they were pacified towards these Nephite missionaries. He sends out a proclamation to all of the Nephite, or all of the Lamanite different governances under his rule to allow these missionaries to be there. He removes all obstructions so that these Nephite missionaries can preach. And because of that, thousands were brought to the knowledge of the Lord. And it's these thousands that become the anti-Nephi Lehis, who bury their weapons, who are the parents of the 2,000 stripling warriors that completely changed the tide of the war in Moroni's war against the Amalekites, and really set up the rest of the entire Book of Mormon. You may be aware of this from the video, The Other Side of Heaven, but Elder John Groberg, who was a 70, talked about an experience he had on his mission to Fiji, or Tonga. Tonga that he went to?
I don't remember.
Where he gets to this island and does all of this ministry. He works to become a part of the people, to love them and care for them. And because of that, people are baptized. A branch is started, a priesthood is organized. And then he gets visited by his mission president. And his mission president says, Elder Groberg, we have no record of you doing anything. What have you been doing while you've been out here? And Elder Groberg, with all the ministry that he has done, because he didn't follow the proper administrative responsibilities, those essentially his work had not been recorded. And in the movie, it's a light moment, kind of a chuckle. But the fact that ministry and administration are completely intertwined can't be overstated. There is no administration, proper administration, without ministry. Every time you mark a student present or absent, you are in a small way ministering to that student. You are accounting for them being in your class. You're focusing on them and their name. I heard a teacher last year say that every time she marks a student present, she tries to think about something that student did that day in class, just to have this individual moment with a student. Every time you help a student towards the path towards completion for Seminary Institute, you're ministering to them. You are helping them to meet seminary expectations, possibly receive a certificate or a diploma in recognition of their efforts, and preparing them for later study and later service. So there is no administration without ministry, at least if you're administering properly. However, there is also, let me say it this way, our ministry is not fully complete without administration. If you go to the temple and you perform an ordinance for an ancestor, but you never record that ordinance, you have not finished the process of fully ministering to that ancestor. Similarly, if the missionaries find someone that wants to make a covenant with the Lord and be baptized, unless they record that name and the ministry that they've provided isn't fully finished. And so I just want to make sure that we start here. I worked with a young teacher years ago. Well, he wasn't young, he was actually an older teacher. He was new to our faculty, but he was an older teacher. And one of the first things he told me is, I just want you to know, I'm a teacher, I'm not an administrator. So I will teach, but I don't do really well at roles and attendance and all of that stuff. I noticed that year, as that teacher taught throughout the year, he really struggled. And as we worked on his administrative abilities and skills, his teaching ability dramatically improved. And so at the end of the year, he noted, I can't be just a teacher. No one is just a teacher. We all teach and administer in seminaries and institutes. So with that, you saw this in the training. I'll just briefly review it. There are three areas of administration. One is administering to yourself. One is administering for your students' benefit, and one is administering for parents or leaders' benefit. Administering to self, 3 principles that make it really meaningful. Please make time early and often for yourself to study the scriptures, to participate in faculty meetings, to read the weekly helps that I send out. Make sure that you balance love and law in your work with students, as we talked about in our convention, and please ask for help. It hurts me when someone calls me and they say, Brother Horton, I have been stressing about this for hours or days. Don't stress about it for hours or days. At the very beginning of the stress, you call me or you call Brother Long so that we can eliminate the hours and days of stress. Please make sure as you strengthen yourself, you study and ponder daily, read and use the announcements, participate in all meetings, counsel regularly with me, your coordinator, utilize any additional resources. We support students. Here are the credit requirements, which if you have questions about those, you can ask in a minute and we can answer. Here are the ways that you help students meet those credit requirements. You take attendance daily. You help students develop a habit of daily reading through, and you encourage and follow up on that reading. You administer the learning assessment each semester. You monitor student credit weekly, and you proactively work with students who need makeup work. Emphasis on proactively. You synchronize your service with leaders by assisting parents in preparation for the school year, keeping them informed, helping them to know registration or getting their students on lists, which I know there's some questions on registration, so we'll ask those in a minute. Counsel regularly with leaders. That's your stake supervisor. And as I've mentioned before, if your bishop or young women's president isn't pulling you aside in the hall on at least a monthly basis, you should pull them aside in the hall on a monthly basis and just give them a glimpse into what's happening in seminary. Lastly, please stay aligned with S&I administration. We have policies and practices that govern how we administer the program of seminary. Just as we're not authorized to change the program that is presented in the temple, we aren't authorized to change the program of seminary beyond the bounds the Board of Education has set. And so please make sure that you stay aligned with policies and practices. And if you ever have a question, give me a call. So there's our review. I turn it now over to you to fire with questions, things you want to walk through together, screen share, whatever. And Sister Martis, I know you have the first one since you asked it before we started. So ask the question again, and then we'll dive into answering it.
My confusion is with white and Canvas. I know Canvas is to record attendance, but I don't know what Canvas is all about. I know
Okay.
I will be teaching through Zoom, but I get mixed up with, I don't know what Canvas is doing in there.
Okay, great question. Let's walk through it. So, of course, you access Canvas is the word. It's an actual product that the church has purchased a contract with, and it's a it's an online learning management software. And so what it is used for is helping. It's designed for colleges, primarily for colleges and universities, to help them study course content, interact with other students that might be in that course. And so the church purchased it largely for our online seminary students. And so how long ago was it, Dan, that we started online seminary? 15 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
So for online seminary students, they use Canvas and to interact daily in seminary. And so we'll look at what that looks like here in a minute. I don't think none of you are using Canvas, so that part won't apply to you, but I'll do it for the video's sake. But you use it as a teacher. We use it in seminary institutes also to provide resources to you as a seminary teacher.
Okay.
So Canvas is your seminary homepage.
So the student has nothing to do with it?
Your students have nothing to do with it in your class. No,
Okay.
no. So
Okay.
I'll show you. If you go to silearn.churchofjesuschrist.org,
Yeah.
whoops, let's leave student view. Okay. You will be taken, you'll go to silearn, you'll log in with your church username and password, and you'll be taken to your dashboard.
Mhm.
Most of you, your dashboard will only have one square on it, and it'll be this one right here.
Right.
Philadelphia Seminaries and Institutes Religion Teacher Training. And you click on it, and that takes you to your seminary homepage. It has weekly announcements. Each week I'll post an announcement, and I'll also email it to you that has some weekly lesson helps. And then down here, all of these buttons take you to different resources that you might need. For example, this top button right here, teaching resources, takes you to our pacing guide for the year, the Old Testament Seminary Teacher Manual, doctrinal mastery lessons, and then training for online teachers, student manuals, other study resources. It's a one-stop shop for all resources you'll need to teach. And again, that is just right here on this homepage under teaching resources.
Okay.
If you ever don't have the Zoom link to get into a meeting with me, it's right here. You just go to silearn, you click on that button to put you in a meeting.
Okay.
If you click on this one, it'll give you this calendar of our faculty meetings for the year. We have frequently asked questions, training for online and virtual teachers, if you want to view past trainings, and the teacher toolbox. All of that's right here. Again, resources for you as a teacher. So you don't have to go to 17 different websites to find what works. You can just come to one. If there's something that's helpful out there, I will put it here on this homepage so that you only have one place you need to go.
Oh, great.
So
There's no reason for me to take notes of what we said over here.
Yep. So, Dan, anything I've missed on the use of Canvas or anything you would add to it?
Nope, only that if you are teaching a class that utilizes Canvas, then you will see two tiles on that main page. The first one will be this one, and the second will be to your personal class if you are using it. So
In fact, let's give you a view of what that might look like right here. We'll dive into, we'll just pick one of these right here. So if you are using, which none of you right now on the call are, but some of our teachers that might watch the video are going to use Canvas as part of their online seminary class. Online seminary means that students use at least some of their days are spent doing asynchronous study in Canvas. And then, of course, some of their days are spent in meetings, classes with their teachers, either over Zoom or in person. So if you have an online class, your Canvas page comes preloaded and it looks like this. It's got a picture at the top, a welcome, some links there, all of the links to all of the weeks right here. There will be some additional training provided for online seminary teachers, but I would emphasize just a couple of things. In fact, I'll bring it up right here. This might be a good place to show it. If you are, can you see this graphic that's blue?
Yep.
Okay. If you're an online seminary teacher this year, I will send you today. So by the time you watch this video, you'll have this, this online/Canvas seminary checklist. In order for you to teach an online seminary class, you and your students need to meet these minimum requirements. So right here, requirements for teachers. Canvas is a daily experience. You need to be engaged daily as a teacher. It is not appropriate to only focus your efforts on your in-person or Zoom classes and just let students do their work in Canvas. That is not online seminary. Online seminary means teacher and student engage in Canvas every day. That means that you as a teacher are responding to discussions, you're checking assignments, you're sending, receiving messages, you're adjusting content. Your Canvas homepage should be customized to your students. Your Canvas lessons should be customized to your students. Most teachers find that teaching online seminary requires at least as much time and effort, if not sometimes a little more time and effort, than teaching a daily seminary class. Because you're going to spend probably about an hour each day customizing a lesson, interacting with students, messaging, responding to discussions, checking assignments, etc. That's an expectation for Canvas. You also need to be able to participate in the extra training that's provided. More information on that will be forthcoming. And then you need to be able to complete all administrative tasks that go along with being in Canvas, including correcting assignments, monitoring student participation and time. You are responsible to make sure that your students are spending adequate time on their learning experiences in Canvas. And then students need to be able to have reliable technology, including an email address. They cannot be registered for a Canvas class without an email address, so they have to have an email address, and reliable technology to participate fully in the modules. They need to engage in a full 50-minute seminary experience. Canvas is not it's not designed to be a short day or an easy day. It is designed to be a full seminary experience where students spend 50 minutes on their study, participating in discussions, studying scriptures, following instructions, etc. And then they also need to be able to meet any extra expectations that you as a teacher might set for them. So if you're teaching Canvas, this will be the homepage that's preloaded. But if you are teaching Canvas, you will customize this homepage and you'll customize these lessons to meet the needs of your students as well as interacting with them. One other thing, go ahead, Sister Martis.
So that means the student is going to have access to Canvas too.
If you have an online seminary class, then students will have access to Canvas, and they will access Canvas the same way you do. They'll go to silearn.churchofjesuschrist.org, and when they get to their homepage, the only square they will see on it will be the Canvas class that you've provided for them.
Oh, okay.
This can sometimes be confusing for students because they might use Canvas for their public school experiences as well, and that will be a different website. They will get to that through their school portal or school website. So sometimes students will try and get to their seminary class using their school website. It is not. They have to go to silearn to get to the seminary portal. So
just reiterate too, for those watching this later, that's in order to get the students added in, they have to have a church account, and the church account has to have an email address listed inside of it. This is different than if they set up their username to be the exact same as their email address. So johnsmith@gmail.com, if that is what their username is, that is not the same thing as having an email address listed in the account. There's an email field in the accounts of, or in the settings of their account, that has to be filled with a valid email address. If that is not filled, the system will not let me add them to your class.
What's the website, Dan? Is it account dot? Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I always have to go through the main page if I want to see it. I've never bothered to pay attention.
You go to account.churchofjesuschrist.org. It's going to make me log in, but
Mhm.
fine. If you go to account.churchofjesuschrist.org, or you have a student that needs to update there, they go to their account, and then all of their stuff is right here. Personal information, I think email addresses is right here. They need to make sure they have an email address right there, has a green check next to it in order for them
If
to
that is not filled, the system will not let me add them. This is a hard rule, and we can't add them in. The student has to be the one who adds this in. And so this has been a bottleneck for us in years past, because students are slow to go do this or don't quite understand what we're asking them. And there's nothing I can do. They will not be able to access Canvas until this is done.
All right. Well done with that one. None of you on this call are Canvas teachers, but thanks for humoring us for a little recording for people that might watch it later. Great question though, Sister Mars. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For
yeah,
you,
thank you.
Canvas is for you. Why is
Okay.
how you take attendance for students.
All right.
Okay. All right. Keep going. Other questions you have?
I think I have been trying to have some training myself, self-tutoring with Canvas, but I have no access. It says that they are delayed, they're working on it. So some story over there. In other words,
So when you try to log in with your username, it doesn't work.
my username with no, believe me, I just get, it says let's get started, right? I get started. I was just able to get the Canvas app. And what do I do next?
What happens when you try? Have you tried accessing it on your computer?
No.
Try accessing it on your computer by going to that website.
Is
I learn.
learn.
Okay. Yeah.
churchofjesuschrist.org.
Yes, I have tried that, but all I go is to the LDS account that I have with the church, and I get the minister, seminary, and all that. I don't see Canvas anywhere.
Can you try? Do you know how to share your screen, Sister Martis?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's for me to attend.
Well, try. Do you have access to your computer screen right now, though?
Yeah.
Okay. Try this really quick.
How do I do share screen? It says here at the bottom.
Yep.
Okay.
Click share screen,
Okay.
and then just share the computer screen that you're seeing so that we can. While she's getting this up,
What do I
Sister
do?
Barry or Sister Waring, questions you have that we can kind of have batting up?
The only thing that I was thinking is, while I've got you here, and I know Daylene's going to be very good at knowing how to do all of this, but since I don't know anything, if you would just be willing to just walk through the attendance on WISE, that'd be cool just to see it. But I mean, if we get to it, we do. If we don't, it's okay. I can ask Daylene. She'll take me through it too, I'm sure. So
It's probably a good idea for us to go through that anyway.
Yep, that's great. Okay, so Sister Mars, let's fix yours first. Up there in the web bar,
Okay.
I learn.
Right here.
Yep.
As I learn that
Church of Jesus Christ.
No space.
No spaces, yeah.
yeah. It's right here.
Well, that's.
Ju-
Yeah,
just click that top link.
click that top link, that will work. So go down
She
to where it
didn't-
says the Church of
she-
Jesus
That
Christ.
one. Yep, that one.
She didn't put .org.
It's fine. So just click that link right there. That'll take you there.
That'll take you to it. So click on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
Mhm.
one right there. Yep.
See, that's all I get. Next.
So click. So you clicked on that link and it didn't.
Click
Wow.
right there where your mouse currently is, where it says silearn.churchofjesuschrist.org. Try clicking on that one.
Here.
Nope.
No.
Go to the right where it says also try. Yep, go up a little bit. Down.
Second one. The second one.
The second one.
That
Yep,
one.
click on that. Okay, now try clicking that first link again. It's weird that it's not working.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's all I
Try retyping the address in your web address bar. So go to the very top again.
How do I clear all that? Delete.
So just double click up there and it should highlight everything and then you can hit delete.
Double click.
Like, so all the way up at the very, so go up right there, double click quickly. So do it 3 times then, triple click.
No. I don't know how to do that.
You just click that mouse button 3 times quickly. There you go. Now hit there. Now delete. Now you can hit delete and then you can type it in again.
Oh, okay.
So listen, silearn.Church of Jesus Christ, and make sure to put the .org at the very end.
Learn that. Oh, yes, wait. Right, got,
.org.
oh,
Yep.
Okay.
Now press enter. There you go.
yeah, I just get to my account, to the choice account. What
Yep,
do I see?
You should click next and log in. Yep. Type in your password. And there you are. You're in that blue square in the middle there with the picture of Jesus on it.
Yeah.
That's the seminary homepage.
And then this is when I start the course.
You don't need to. Just click not now or click the X. Yep.
Okay,
And then same thing with that one.
Yeah. Okay. Now click on.
right here.
Yep.
Yep.
There you are.
And this is Canva.
That's
Yep.
Canva. Yep. You got it.
I was waiting to see the app that I get.
Yeah,
on my cellular.
you can use the app. It's not quite as good as going online. So I'd recommend just trying it online.
Oh, okay, so that's the message that I got.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you go. Now you're in.
Now I know how to share. Okay, I never did it.
All right. Sister Waring, to your question. Here's WISE 2.
I realize I haven't created any of the classes for Philadelphia State yet.
Okay. Well, do we have any set up for any of the others?
Yeah, if you go to Cherry Hill with Valley Forge, either of those
Okay.
are done.
We'll do Cherry Hill. Sister Barry, can we borrow your class as an example?
Sure.
All right. So we're going to go to Sister Barry's class right here. So when you go to WISE 2, sorry, I should have started with this. It'll bring up a page right here. Yours will look a little different than mine. I see everyone's classes. You will most likely just see yours up here at the very top. So it'll say your class. And so you can
Or-
click on it.
One thing though, it'll have the first name on there. So whatever name I have on my spreadsheet first is the name I put in there. So it might have your team teacher's name instead of yours.
Okay.
So if you ever can't find it, you can also click over here on classes, and that will give you a list of all the classes. You can click on it as well, but it's easiest just to click on your class right there. And when you click on it, we don't have the schedule set up yet, but normally what you'll see here is a summary of all of your students and their attendance. In fact, let's do this just to
If you
get this set up. Oh, I don't have, well, we're just registering students for this. That's
if you go back to, or you can switch to a previous year or something.
Let's do previous year. There we
But
go.
also Sister Conrad's class in Cherry Hill has students in it.
Okay, let's do that. So Sister Conrad's class. Okay, here we are. So you click on the class, it'll bring up the summary page, shows you all the students you have in your class. You can click on each student and see information about them, which days they've attended, what their reading looks like, how they're doing on credit. But the easiest way to take attendance is just to click attendance. And then for each day, mark them present.
If on that summary page, if you log in every day, you can mark it on today's attendance on the right side. It'll be auto-filled for that specific day. So if you log in every day at the start of class, you don't have to go to any different page to be able to mark attendance. You can do it right here. Same thing with reading. We would encourage the students to do their own reading, to mark it, I mean. But sometimes they either don't have access or don't have reliable internet or whatever the case may be. And so you can mark it for them.
Okay.
That's what I do.
But we want them to have some amount of accountability and encourage them to do it themselves. And they can do it either on the app or at myseminary.churchofjesuschrist.org. But this assumes that they have a church account. They have to have a church account in order to be able to use either of those. So if they don't have a church account, then you'll have to do it for them.
Now, does the student have access to Wise?
They don't have access to Wise,
Okay.
Yeah.
but the way that they will mark their reading is by going to myseminary.churchofjesuschrist.org.
And how do I know if they're being on it?
So if they're marking it, then you will see it on Wise. So they can mark their own on My Seminary. And once they do, you will be able to see what they've done on Wise. So like, let's say, yeah, so you have this one, or this person.
I'm just
you'd
gonna
be able-
I'm gonna grab a student, impersonate a student here, and so we can see what their registration, what their My Seminary looks like. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Let's grab, okay. So. Whoops,
Click your name.
name.
Yeah, if you click your physical name on there, it'll give you the drop down to.
So My Seminary shows you, oh, maybe they removed it. It's not clickable.
You have to
anymore.
if you click the name, it should give you the impersonate option.
Yeah, it's not giving me a click cursor. Gives me a drop down for language, but they must have taken it off. Never mind. So My Seminary, if you log in, you'll see it's customized based on your church account. So if you are a parent of seminary students, you will see your students. If you have a leadership responsibility, you'll see the students maybe in your ward.
Here, I can do it, Zach, if you want me to show.
Yep. Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on, I need to go and get the username.
While he's doing that though, did that make sense though on how to take attendance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take attendance. You can mark attendance for past days. You can mark reading for today and for any past days.
Reading, you cannot do anything in the future. It won't even show anything until that day has come.
Okay.
And then you can see credit for students. They all show as in danger right now because we haven't met any of the seminary.
If you click that caret at the top right there, it'll expand and you can see where they're missing.
So they all have 0% attendance because we haven't had any classes attending yet. But as you start taking attendance, you'll see a percentage here. You'll see their reading percent attendance here, and you'll see once they've taken the learning assessment, their score there. They need at least 75% in all three, and then it'll turn to, I think it says on track.
Yeah.
Turns green.
Yep.
If it's red, then that means the student is missing at least one of those three, and you need to work with them. Whether
Okay.
it's marking their reading, taking attendance, or taking or retaking the assessment.
Yeah, you can see this for each individual student if you just click their name because it's hyperlinked, and it'll bring up that other box and you can look at each one and see where they're missing. And the same thing, like if they missed a bunch of classes and then they did some makeup work, you can go in and change their attendance for previous days. And so you click, show that little person how you can change from present to absent.
Okay.
Yeah, so the little green guy, you can click and it'll show you that list of how to change it. And so you can make up or whatever.
Yeah, so if they were absent on this day and then they made up that day, you can go back and click it. Or of course, just remove it. So there you go.
But once the day has come, you will not be able to go and change it back to nothing. So that only works for future days. Like you click a day in the future and change it accidentally, you can change it back to unmarked, but you can't do that if the day has already passed. So one thing I'll say really quick before I show the My Seminary thing is attendance at the very least. We really want you to do it every day, but at the very least, it needs to be done weekly because we have audits that show if a program is behind on attendance, and the area office gets very grumpy with us, which means that I have to email and whine and complain for you to please do it. And I
Thank
don't
you,
like
Brother
doing
Long.
that. I don't like doing it. You don't like hearing it. And so it would be much better if you could just remember to do it every day. If it gets to the point where you're several weeks, like up to a month, and it still hasn't been marked, just to get you off the audit, I will just go mark everybody absent. And we really prefer not to do that because we want the students to get credit for what they're doing. And again, we can go fix this later, but it would just be much better that we mark everything as we go on. We don't want somebody to think they're going to get credit and they don't because we didn't get the attendance marked the way we should have.
Mm-hmm.
Make it easy. Get in the habit of every day after seminary, going to WISE, marking attendance. If you can get in that habit, you save yourself a lot of problems and save us a lot of, what were the words you used, Dan? Complaining,
Whining,
whining.
begging.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. I just said thank you.
But this is
So-
like in the old days. I don't know how they do nowadays in school, but in my days, the teacher called a name to see if we were present. We didn't answer, we were absent.
Yep.
So it's like doing it that way.
Very similar.
Now, one thing also, the church has put some effort into making the main pages here on WISE 2 mobile friendly. So they used to be able, teachers used to be able to use the app as well. They've taken that functionality away. The app is only for students and parents. However, if you use your phone or tablet and go to the website like normal, you should be able to save that like as a bookmark icon on your home screen. That if you just click, and it'll take you right to it. You'll have to log in every time, but you'll be able to go directly there, not have to go open your browser and type it in every time. But they formatted it so you should be able to easily see things on your mobile device without having to like scroll weird ways or anything
And
like
this
that.
is why,
So this
that's
is the
why.
website, WISE 2. So that you can do it on your
Yeah.
phone, but you have to use the
Okay.
browser to do it. There is not an app that teachers can use.
So if you want to access it on your phone, you pull up on your phone the internet and then type wise2.churchofjesuschrist.org in the browser, and it'll bring up this page.
oh, okay.
The app that Brother Long just mentioned, there is a Seminary and Institute app that students can download to help them check their reading. It's probably
Okay,
the best way, the easiest way for them to mark their reading. And so if you want, you can encourage students to download this app, and that makes it a lot easier for them to mark their daily reading. They can also see their own attendance. They can't change anything on it, but they can see their own attendance. They can see past credit, transcript, so they can see, oh, wait, I've got 3 days to make up from last year.
Okay, so that sounds good, but my question is, they can mark their reading.
They
Yes.
can mark their reading, yep.
Oh.
And,
but
and that would be the
otherwise,
same thing too. If they like show up at class every day, and if you get into a habit of reminding them every day, let's mark reading, then they can pull up their app right there and mark it for that day.
But that's what I mean. How do I know that they're doing?
So you can see that on Wise too. If you go back to
Oh.
their
You're asking how do you know they're not being dishonest?
Yeah.
And you don't. We teach them about the meaning behind it. We encourage them to be honest. Most students actually are. Most
Okay.
students are pretty honest. In fact, sometimes you will have to help a student understand that reading can be anything. So you might have the case where a student is harder on themselves and they'll say,
Right.
you'll see they haven't been marking their reading. And you ask them, have you been reading? And they say, yeah, I've been reading every day. Well, how come you're not marking it? Well, my goal is to read 15 minutes a day, and I haven't been reading 15 minutes every day, so I haven't been marking it. And you want to help them see any amount of reading counts for that day's reading.
the
So,
goal is just to get them to open the scriptures every day.
Yep.
All
So
right.
there-
Can I
thank
make-
you. No, go
Can I
ahead.
make a comment just because it's something that I incurred? I do family history and I do whatever, indexing and the census and everything. Just to make sure everybody knows, you cannot use the same password for your seminary as you can for your indexing.
they just changed family search. They made you
Yes.
set up a separate password. Yep. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, Dan, walk us through.
All right.
Uh,
So here is, can you see that?
Yep.
So this is what they will see when they log in.
Either using the app looks very similar to this, but this is showing, of course, what it looks like if they go to the website, myseminary.churchofjesuschrist.org.
And because we're still, the semester hasn't started yet, it's not showing, but it's showing the reading. There will be ability to go and click. So it's showing that they will give them little badges as they mark, and it will show them like the percent that they've done. And it will give them two percentages. One, it will give them a percentage of the days that have occurred already and how many of those that they have read. And then another one will show for the entire semester. So let's say they check it on October 1st, it will show them you've gotten 80% of the 4 weeks you've already done, but that equals 30% of the entire semester. And it will show them both of those percentages. And they can click mark today's reading and it will tell them their progress, and they can do everything here. They can set goals, and these are entirely personal. We don't ask for them. We don't care. That's their personal thing. They can do it and change it however they want. We only care if they're opening their scriptures every day. One thing I wanted to say though is back here on this first page, you will see these icons on Wise. And you might not know what they mean, but you can click the little button here and it will show you. The big one I want to point out is this missing agreement. And you can see right here, Vienna is missing the agreement. This is something that parents need to do, and it only has to be done once per student for all years of seminary. What it is the parent has to go either to My Seminary and they log in using their own username and password, or they do the app in the same name, the parent's username and password, and they will go in and they will be able to see a list of their seminary age children, and they will give permission, or there's a little button they'll have to click, or like a radial check mark or something like that. I don't know. My kids aren't old enough for seminary, so I don't have the exact same screen, but it's one of those things where they can just click and say, I give permission for my student to be taught. And then there will be other ones like, oh, I give permission for their picture to be used, or there's a couple other ones. We don't care about any of the other ones. The big one is we have legally that they really want us to do this, that the parent gives permission for us to teach their child. And at the end of the semester, we have problems trying to close out the term if they don't do it.
Sorry. That's the little second button next to the little hand.
But on the, so like if, when the parents log in here, there will be something here, either a link to click or like a box with that you click and it gives you a check mark. It'll be something like that, that the parent will have to click.
But
It says, I give permission for my son or daughter to be taught.
yes, but on top there is a little box. You see where you see, yes.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Yes.
No, that's the one.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's core project. So it's going to be, so one is, no, not that one. So it's, yeah, it's one of these, and it's,
Okay.
and you can do home, and they'll be able to change things out. So you can see the reading progress and
Yeah.
course progress. So here you can see absences.
The parent needs to check that her box.
The one to give permission, the parent has to do. The student cannot do it. Now,
The parent view will look a little bit different than this, Sister Mars. This
Okay,
is
yeah.
showing what a student sees when they log in.
Okay.
When a parent logs in, theirs will look a little bit different, and there will be a
Right.
button there for them to provide
Okay.
permission
Alright.
for us to teach their student. So
All right.
that only has to be done for students that either haven't had it done or brand new seminary students. And as Brother Long pointed out, that little red
right here.
right there
Absolutely.
shows. You look at your class summary and you don't see any red, you're good. If you look at
And
your class
that-
summary and you see a red, then you just need to contact that student's parent and say, will you please go to myseminary.churchofjesuschrist.org. Or
Now,
use-
one option to do, we still would prefer them to log on and do it themselves. However, if you have a parent who is so not tech savvy that they can't even make themselves a church account,
Yeah.
then we will accept you getting verbal confirmation from them, and then you pass it on to me and I can take care of it. We prefer it to do it themselves. But if, again, they just have no clue how to do anything technologically, then we will accept you getting verbal permission, and then I can mark it, but you need to pass that on to me. Because again, we will get to the end of the semester and there's always a student or two who hasn't gotten this taken care of. And
Yeah.
then I can't close out the term until it's taken care of.
And this needs to be done every year.
No, this one only has to be done once for each student. So normally it's just incoming freshmen need to have it done. Occasionally
Okay.
you'll have an older student who just got baptized kind of a thing, and they're a junior and they needed to get it done. But it's just once for all of seminary. So each kid needs to have it done. So let's say you got a family of 4 kids. Each kid only has to do it once,
All right.
but the parents will have to do it for each child. So again, we don't have many. We only have really the incoming freshmen who need to worry about it.
Great. Thank you so much.
Any other questions on attendance, credit, registration, anything that you're seeing here on this page?
No,
I will point out one thing because I just remembered. So there will be days that you will not have class because the school district is out. I have set it up right now where I've started as a default. Now that this is just, I haven't heard from a lot of the classes about specific start dates. So I've just defaulted start of the 6th. I think some have the 16th because they heard back. Others I'm defaulting to the 21st because I know most schools are going until December 21st, 22nd, somewhere in there. So I've just defaulted everything that way. And then I've defaulted the 3 days around Thanksgiving where I've taken out. If there's any other days where you will not hold seminary because the school district has a day off, then you will need to remove that day or tell me about it from the schedule. Because otherwise you won't mark it because you didn't have seminary, but it still shows up as counted against the student. So you need to make sure you mark it as not a day. So whatever day that is, you can do it easily from here. You just say, oh, September 12th, we don't have class. So I click on that button, it's got cancel this class session, and it will take it right out.
Okay.
Let
So
me
you
make
can-
one note here that's really, really important. The only reason you can cancel a class session is if the school district that you have attached your seminary calendar to is not holding class that day. You can't cancel class if it just doesn't work for students that day. You can't cancel class if you're just not feeling like holding seminary that day. You can't cancel class because it's been a long week and you just don't want to hold class that day. You can't even cancel class if you're sick. If you're sick, you want to find someone that can substitute that class. We don't cancel student seminary experience. Every day that they are expected to be in school, we will hold a seminary class. And so That also counts too. This hasn't happened in our area, thankfully, but there was a teacher I heard about in a different area that had students from 3 or 4 different school districts. And so the teacher just didn't hold class any time that any student in any school district didn't have school, which meant they had like a 3-week spring break because 1 week was one school district, 1 week is another school district, 1 week. That is not appropriate. You pick one school district to attach your calendar to, and that's the calendar that you follow.
I actually, I have a question about that.
Oh.
In terms of, so we also have several school districts spanning ours. And in terms of weather, if the more northern one cancels, or even has a delay where the other ones don't, one of the reasons I live in the area of the more northern one. And so, so it might be that the weather that I am experiencing is, dangerous for me to get out. Especially coming up and down my hills and stuff. You've been up here, Brother Horton. What do I do about that?
It's a great question. Of course, the easy answer is follow the lead of that school district that you're connected to, but you're talking about what if a different school district that's not
right, because I'm sure
cancels.
that we're going to be following Central Bucks because most of the students are in Central Bucks. Myself and my kids who are coming with me are in Palisades. I haven't lived here for 17 years, but when I was a kid, Palisades would sometimes have 2-hour delays or would cancel, and Central Bucks would still be in school, just because of the road conditions can be different from that span. Do I say, hey, Daleen, it's your day and you didn't know it? Or, those are, and I can do that. And maybe it's just something I need to talk with her about and figure that out. Or is there something that if it's my day to teach and it cancels? Anyway, what's your thoughts on that?
Great question. When it comes to safety issues, so this would go for severe weather, or of course, if there's any kind of, natural disaster or active shooter, anything that threatens the safety of students, then yes, you can cancel a class. In those cases, I would ask that you please let me, Brother Long, and your stake supervisor know,
Okay.
hey, we didn't hold class this morning because roads were icy and students were frozen in. Most times with that, most school districts build in a couple of snow days.
Yeah.
Right. And so what they'll do is if they cancel class on this day because it's snowy, they will add a class to the end of the school year to make up for that day. And you would just follow that same pattern. So if we canceled class on this day, then that means that we'll go 1 extra day into June,
Okay.
Be reasonable. With as many, we have guides and structure and policies, but we also have an inspired seminary teacher who has a right to revelation and knows in most cases what's right and wrong. So we trust you to make the right choice. Just please keep us informed if you do end up canceling classes for things like that.
Okay. Thank you.
And going back to spring break, when you have multiple school districts that have different weeks and you just pick the one that makes the most sense, maybe the most to the kids or whatever the case may be. So let's say you've got spring break this week, but you have another group that has it this week, then you would essentially have to have the kids who are going to miss this week, even though you're holding class, they would have to have some kind of work, or maybe they have enough days where they've already attended. And so they're missing 5 days isn't going to hurt their attendance, whatever the case may be. But there just has to be some kind of something for the students who would miss because of their spring break for them to do to get credit for those days. So whatever that is, and that's pretty much up to the discretion of you, of how best to do that for your students. But you would need to provide something for the minority of the students who would miss a week of seminary due to their own spring break.
Okay.
And to do that, you can do one of two things. You could, of course, they can still attend seminary, and sometimes students do. Or you can provide them what you would provide a student who needs makeup work, which is providing them appropriate lessons from the student seminary manual, which if you look at Gospel Library under Seminary Institutes, it's right next to the teacher manual. And so if that day you were studying Isaiah 45, you could give them that assignment from the student study manual for Isaiah 45. And if they do the work in that and then turn it back into you, they could earn credit for that makeup day. Again, to Brother Long's point, sometimes they don't need it. If it's a student that attends every other day and they're missing a week because they're out of town for spring break, they probably don't need to make it up because their attendance percentage will be just fine. Some of them may want to make it up because of that kind of student, in which case you can give them the home study, but.
And I have a question over there.
Yep.
My understanding is that we go according to the Board of Education days of classes, whatever they say is the spring break, then we don't have seminary on those days.
Yep. So for your class, Sister Morris, it's pretty easy because you'll just follow whatever Hansel has for school. And so follow that schedule. If there's spring break on a week, then if he has spring break for a week, then that week you don't hold seminary. If he has a Friday off school or a Monday off school, then you don't hold seminary that day.
And there's no reading, marking, no attendance.
There's no attendance. Reading is an everyday
Okay.
experience.
I was gonna bring that up, that reading is one of those things that catches a lot of people off guard at the end of the year, where they think they're gonna get credit, but they haven't been marking. So it is important that you let me know your actual start date and end date. And again, it needs to be when school is in session. And I've just defaulted here. But if you started back here in August, then I need to be able to tweak that. So the reading will go from the very first day to the very last day, regardless of if class is held or if there's a holiday or anything. Every day between that start and end date counts. So it's very important that you let me know your actual last day. So everyone needs to please email me your actual schedule. And if you don't want to have to worry about removing days, send me the list of the days that you already know. Oh, this is the day that we're going to have off. Like I said, I only took off Thanksgiving. I know some schools take off election day, some take off Veterans Day. Others already have built-in like waiver days or conference days or something. If you already know those, send them to me and I'll just take them out of your schedule so you don't have to worry about it.
Oh, okay.
So, but to go back to that point, reading, it is expected that students read 75% of the calendar days. That counts Saturdays and Sundays and any holidays or days off school. So it's not just Monday through Friday or whenever school's in session, it's every day. So any other questions as you look at this page?
Well, I have another question came up. If the student, for whatever reason, is sick, I need to mark them absent, and then that would affect the grade.
Yeah. If they're sick, yep, you just mark them absent for the day. And like I said, the attendance expectation is 75% of the days,
Okay.
which in a semester that usually leaves you at least 10 days where a student can miss class. So if they're sick for a day or two or three, or they're taking off on a family vacation for a week, usually that doesn't cause any problems and doesn't even need makeup work. It's when a student has consistent problems attending regular classes when they're not sick or when they're not on vacation, that's when they usually end up needing makeup work. So
But I would ask that if that's the case, if you have a student who missed and you know that they're going to want to do makeup work because either they're behind or they're just that student and they hate missing anything, then please mark them absent. And when they turn in whatever makeup work it is, go back and change it. Because we have a lot of teachers in years past who they just leave it open because, oh, they're going to do that, their attendance. Well, then that leaves it open and you show up on my audit and I get yelled at. So I have to pass it on. So please just mark them absent and go back and change it later when they turn it in.
Oh, so that can be changed.
Yes. So like, that's what we had shown before. So let's say here we change it to absent and Brianne missed. And then we go down a couple days and she turns in her makeup work. So you can come up here and just say makeup absence and you can click it then and it will change it and she will now get credit for that day.
Okay.
really easy. Okay, other questions about other things?
Do they have to read 7 days a week or just 5 days?
7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
Again,
like
to
the
earn
Beatles, 8
credit.
days a week.
Again, to earn credit, it's 75%. So if they miss a day or two, it's not going to disrupt their chances for credit.
okay.
But we want to help them develop the habit of reading every single day.
It's just that I need to let them know.
Yep.
Yes.
Good questions.
I need
Yeah,
to
so
take
it's-
off, Brother Horton. I'm sorry.
Nope, you're fine. We're about at the wrap up time anyway, so I will stay on for anyone else that needs other questions. But thanks for being here, Cam. I think we answered all of the main ones and walked through everything that you probably need to set up a seminary year. So
The only other thing I would add real quick is I need lists of students for each ward. Those you are reasonably sure are going to attend. I understand that each ward is going to have lots of students that they know for sure aren't going to attend. I don't need those. But the students who are reasonably sure are going to attend, I need each class to send me the list of those students so I can add them in. So that's what we kind of saw here with this. We had some of these classes in here who don't already have students because I haven't received those lists yet. So
Brother Long, what is your email address?
So it's Dan Long 2. So DANLONG, the number 2 at churchofchrist.org.
Thank you.
So yeah, you can send me that email with all that stuff. So you start and end dates you know that you're not going to attend, and your list of students.
Thank you.
And I will be able to do it. And then just again, double check if you have Canvas, make sure your students have an email address in there because I can't add it'll give me an error for those students if I try to add them. So
okay. Thanks, Cam. It was good to be with you.
Thank you.
Sister
care.
Ray Ron,
Bye-bye.
are you from Ray Run's lumber?
Waring. You pronounce it Waring. Yes, that's
Oh.
that's my in-laws. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
My
Yep.
brother's in Pipersville, so I ain't been there.
Okay. Well, yep. That's us. That's my family.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
One little thing. Sorry.
Nope, we can keep going. You're fine. I'll stay as long as it's helpful.
Oh, sorry.
Do we have to do Zoom or can we, because we've been doing Google Meets.
You can use whatever virtual meet
Okay.
technology works best for you. I will show you this though. I meant to bring this up earlier, but I showed you the checklist for if you're using Canvas. I
Yes.
also have one for if you're using Zoom or any other kind of virtual meeting software. Very similar. There are expectations that you as teachers and that students have to meet in order to have classes like that. First of all, you want to make sure that that you're setting up an environment for that kind of class. If they're in person, we make sure that the environment is appropriate for seminary. If they're on Google Meet or over Zoom, we also make sure the environment is appropriate. We make sure that they attend on time, that screens are on, they have
Yes.
meaningful participation. There will also be some additional training opportunities for you. And this applies to both of you because you'll both be using Zoom this year. There will be some additional training provided for Zoom teachers that will help you to be just a better Zoom teacher. And then you want to make sure that you're regularly ministering to students. One of the things that gets lost sometimes in a Zoom classroom is the personal connection to students because they don't hang out usually after class, or you don't get to talk to them before class if they come early. And so just make efforts to stay connected to individual students. If you notice a student's, a little bit down on a day, maybe give mom or dad a text with the student in the text message and say, hey, just wanted to reach out and see if everything's okay, or, talk to them on Sunday, or make a visit to the home. So, and then for students, they of course need to have reliable technology. So they can't be in a Zoom or a virtual class. They don't have a way to participate in that virtual class. We would prefer that they access that class using a device other than their phone, because a lot of students will also then use their phone for their scriptures. And so if they have a computer, it's usually best to have a computer. It also helps just with their alert and attentive posture in class. If I have a phone, it's a lot easier for me to lay down on a bed and zoom into class, which contributes to sleep and laziness. If I have a computer, I'm usually sitting up at a desk. So they need to set up their own personal space. We talked about this the other day, making sure that they have their own kind of seminary space. And then, of course, that they meet all the expectations, including screens on and anything else that you might ask them to do as teachers. So just make sure that these 3 checks for you and these 3 checks for them are met before you begin class. So,
Thank
all
you.
right. Other questions?
I wanted to mention this to Brother Long. I couldn't upload my picture. I followed the instructions and everything. but
Upload
I
your
even
what?
have-
It cut out right then. I didn't hear it. Upload your what?
My picture.
Oh,
I even asked my son for help. He couldn't do it either. I don't know.
Is that something you can upload for her, Dan, if she sends it to you? You know,
I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
okay. He'll look into it and then maybe give you a message.
All right.
Because
because my brother-
off the top of my head, I think what it is you can do it using LDS tools, and whatever picture you have uploaded to that is the one that carries over to here.
Okay. All
So you could do it that way. I think the ward clerk also has access to they can assign pictures. I don't know if I have the ability to do that. So that might either have to be you on LDS tools or the clerk can do it, and then it'll bring over into here.
All right, good, sounds good, much better. Well, I don't have any more questions. I'm sorry. I think I took a lot of the questions.
Oh, I'm so glad you did. This was meant to ask questions, so I'm glad that you did. Sister Barry, any other questions that you have? Okay.
Nope, I'm good. Just Brother Long, forgive me. I'm gonna do better this year.
It's good. I don't mind reaching out. I just know it can get tiresome. Like, oh, I'm getting weekly emails and it's getting fresh. Because I've gotten complaints from some teachers from that in the past. So
Oh, it doesn't bother
Oh.
me. It just, I forget because I just been so busy.
Yeah. Just know that when Brother Long bugs you, he does it with all the love in his heart.
And we
and
love him back.
But he also is making sure that we stay on top of things. It's a very important and difficult job. So we're glad that he does it.
and I make sure the area knows. I'm like, I make sure I throw you under the bus, because like if I have to be bothering them, I'm making sure they know I'm doing it because you're bothering me.
All right.
And they tell me like, that's fine. I'm never gonna meet them. I can be the bad guy.
Just so you can take some pride in this and know how good of a job Dan does. The programs that Dan administers have the lowest number of classes that end up on the delinquent attendance audit of any
Oh,
classes in the area. So Dan does a really good job of making sure that we administer appropriately. So if you stay connected to him, then you will do just fine.
oh, yes, and I'm sorry for all the messages that I have sent from long, but he's always right there.
And I am glad to help anytime. You're never really bothering me. I mean, this time of year is a little bit busier, but for the most part, I'm sitting around with not much to do. So if you ever got a question, just let me know and I would be happy to help.
So I have kids that are still uncommitted. Like, actually, I'm glad that you chose Ruth's class to show, because it kind of eliminated some of the kids that are on my question list. So I can at least send you some of the kids that I know that are definitely going to be on my list compared to
And we
the,
can change things later. Like if you're kind of hoping
Okay.
for a student who is going to come, and then you find out after 2 or 3 weeks up that they're just not going to come, we can remove them from the list. Because I know some teachers get a little annoyed where they have to go, like, everyone attends except for these 3 students. I have to go and I have to change it and click absent for those 3. And if they just never come, we can remove them from the list so that you don't have to worry about marking the
Awesome.
students different.
okay,
To
Yeah,
that, I'll
just
say,
let me know if you get to a point where it's like, it's just not gonna happen. This person is not coming. Just let me know and I'll remove them.
right, okay, thank you.
to that, I'll say one thing though, just to balance that out. Please make sure that if you are asking for a student to be removed, that is a student that you have talked with their parents and talked with their leader. We don't ever want to quote unquote kick a student out of seminary without connecting with parents or leaders.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can't connect with the parent. And so in that place, it'd be talking to the bishopric or the young women's presidency and just let them know, hey, we haven't seen this student at all this year. Are you okay if we take them off? And sometimes a priesthood leader might say, no, I want them to stay on that role because I want someone to be thinking about them every day. And so even though it's a pain to mark them absent every single day, a priesthood leader might say, no, I want them on that role. So you can also add students. So Sister Morris, in your case, I know the stake you're teaching Hansel in Camden, but I know there are some other Spanish speaking potential students in the stake. And because you're teaching over Zoom, it would be great if some of those students could join with you. And if they do, if you have a student that joins with you on a day, all you do is send that name to Brother Long and he'll add them to your class.
Correct. Good.
So, all right. Well, thank
you.
you both for coming. Thanks for being here. Love you, sustain you, support you. We'll do anything I can to help. I know I speak for both of us. So if you have any other questions that crop up, then let us know. But
Thank
if we
you.
don't talk to you before the beginning of the school year, then good luck and God bless.
Thank you.